Some same-sex couples from Cincinnati are in the nation's capital tonight. They are going to the U.S. Supreme Court in the morning for an historic fight over their rights to be recognized as married. Tomorrow's arguments could lead to same-sex marriage bans being struck down. Local 12's Anjanette Levy has spoken to the people who are going to court. She's here now with the preview. Anjanette.
Well, Cammie, the 9 U.S. Supreme Court justices will hear arguments about cases from Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan, and Tennessee. They'll have to decide whether those bans on same-sex marriage are unconstitutional and whether states should recognize same-sex marriages performed in states where it is legal.
Supporters of same-sex marriage are camped out around the Supreme Court. All of the cases the High Court will hear are listed under Jim Obergefell's case, Obergefell v. Hodges.
What we started is going to affect so many people. So I think about his legacy that I'm helping build by continuing this fight.
In 2013, Obergefell went to federal court and asked that his name be listed on the death certificate of his dying husband, John Arthur. Several same-sex couples with children who are from Cincinnati also went to court. They wanted both parents' names listed on their children's birth certificates. Attorney Al Gerhardstein represents them.
And when we give them support for their families and legal recognition for their parenting and for their custody and for all the rights that they're entitled to as a full, equal family, the nation's better. And I think people see that, and I'm hopeful the Supreme Court will.
Gerhardstein has been on the front lines of the fight for LGBT rights. He sued the city of Cincinnati over Article 12. But opponents of same-sex marriage believe the issue should be decided by the same people who enacted the bans, the voters.
People talk about all the states that are allowing same-sex unions now. There's only 3 states where it was voted in by the people. That's Washington, Maine, and Maryland. Those are the only 3. Let the people decide this issue. The Supreme Court has no business deciding this.
But the Supreme Court will decide whether banning same-sex marriage is unconstitutional. Jim Obergefell hopes the law is on his side.
I'm hopeful. I really am. I think things are moving in the right direction for us.
The cases from the 4 states are all listed under Obergefell's case. That's Obergefell v. Hodges, because his case was filed first. The court will rule by the end of June. Oral arguments begin tomorrow morning at 10. Cammie?
All right, Anjanette, thank you. And as Anjanette mentioned, the case centers around Ohio and 3 other states where same-sex marriage bans were upheld by the Federal Appeals Court here in Cincinnati. In Kentucky and Michigan, the plaintiffs are challenging the bans based on their children. They want their marriages recognized so they can become legal parents of their adopted children. The same-sex couple in Tennessee wants the state to recognize their out-of-state marriage. The focus of tomorrow's arguments will be 2 things: whether bans on same-sex marriages are constitutional and whether states must recognize same-sex marriages legally performed in other states. Local 12 News will have complete coverage as the issue goes before the Supreme Court, both on air and online.